So it can happen in two ways. It can happen circumferentially, that is the fluid with a certain pressure inside a cylinder. So here the fluid will be present inside. So that can exert pressure inside the inner walls of the cylinder like this. So that type of stress we call it as circumferential stress. So if you consider a small fluid element here, okay, if you consider a very small fluid element, so either stress can be in x direction, okay, in a very simplified form. Okay, so the stress can be in x direction. We call it as circumferential stress or hoop stress. Okay, or the fluid inside can also try to exert pressure in axial direction. Okay, so this is the centroidal axis of the cylinder. So it can either act this way or either try to break the specimen and burst the cylinder in circumferential. So it can occur like this in two ways: circumferential stress in x direction, and we call it as the other one we call it as tangential stress or longitudinal stress. Sorry, not tangential stress; it's longitudinal stress. Okay, always the stress which is acting along the axis of the specimen, we call it as longitudinal stress. So here it can have longitudinal stress. So this fluid element can exert pressure in two directions, and we are in circumferential direction, longitudinal. So corresponding circumferential stress and longitudinal stress will be there. So we also have seen the formula. So there is a small derivation, it's not required, that how you get this circumferential stress. Circumferential stress. What is the formula for circumferential stress? The same, right? Previous class. Sigma h. What is the formula?
PD by 2T.
Yeah. Small p into small d upon 2 into t. Where small p is the internal pressure. Okay, internal pressure. Newton per millimeter square. See, note here, interesting thing is stress unit is also same. Okay, Newton per millimeter square. So pressure is also force upon area. Stress is also force upon area. Okay, B is the internal diameter in mm. T is a wall thickness. Wall thickness in mm. Okay, this is the circumferential stress in x direction. Okay, so what about the longitudinal stress along the axis? Longitudinal stress. Longitudinal stress.
PD by 4.
4 times. Correct?
4.
4 times. So you can note that the circumferential stress is more compared to longitudinal stress. Okay, what the pressurized fluid inside the cylinder exerting on the inner surface of the wall, the stress due to that is more compared to the longitudinal stresses which are in the longitudinal direction. So sigma h you can write twice of sigma L. Okay, we'll solve some problems. So data is L equals 3 meter, 3000 mm, 1 meter internal diameter. So small d is 1 meter, 1000 mm. Correct. So this is thickness is 15 mm, so let it be in mm. So I've converted all the units. Okay, now write down hoop stress or circumferential stress. You have to calculate both the stresses here and also the strain, because they are asking changes in some physical dimensions of the shell. So circumferential stress here already I've written down the formula. Sigma h you can write, or hoop stress. H is hoop stress by T. So can you tell me what will be the value for this? Internal pressure is small p is 1.5 Newton per millimeter square. So already it is in Newton per millimeter square. No need to make any changes into D, 1000 mm upon 2 into thickness. What is the value? P into D upon 4 into T. So 1.5 into 1000 upon 4 into 50. Half of this value, 25 Newton per millimeter square. Now they have asked the changes in the dimension of the shell. So you have to find out. Now see, there are two stresses here. So circumferential stress and diametrical stress. Circumferential stress is due to the internal diameter, okay, surface diameter, and also longitudinal stress in longitudinal direction. Okay. So since there are two stresses, there should be two strains also. Okay, one should be the diametrical strain due to circumferential stress, and there should be longitudinal strain due to longitudinal stress, isn't it? So next, write down longitudinal strain. Before that, diametrical strain. Okay, you calculate circumferential stress, right? So diametrical strain or circumferential strain is given by, so circumferential strain is based on the internal diameter, okay, of the cylinder. So what is the strain? Okay, change in diameter upon original diameter. Okay, by definition, you know that change in dimension upon original dimension will give you the strain value. So it is a physical parameter. So whenever some object is changing its shape or size, okay, there will be strain. So original dimension by, sorry, change in dimension upon original dimension. So in this case, diametrical strain or circumferential strain is due to the diameter of the specimen or the cylinder. So here it is change in diameter upon original diameter. That is, you can take it as strain 1, or whatever you can take. Strain, hoop strain or circumferential strain, whatever. See, in this generalized Hooke's law, do you remember? In the first chapter, we were doing the elastic constants, okay, topic. So in that, we applied a force like this for a three-dimensional specimen. So when you're applying force in the x direction, what happens to the other two directions? So it will elongate, correct? When it will elongate, what will happen? The other two direction, the size will shrink. So in that case, you have written the strain, correct? Strain in direction 1, total strain you have taken. Okay, strain in direction 1 or direction x minus strain in direction y minus strain in direction z. Do you remember this generalized Hooke's law? Or if you're writing in terms of stress and Young's modulus, then like this. correct? So longitudinal strain will be stress upon Young's modulus, whereas compressive strains will be Poisson's ratio you have to multiply in this case. Do you remember this? See the strains in other two directions. So total strain you are getting strain in x direction minus strain in y direction minus strain in z direction. Strain in longitudinal direction, x direction is only stress upon Young's modulus, whereas the compressive strains in other two directions. Okay, so strains in other two directions will be like that. So x, y, and z. So it will be negative in nature, and you have to multiply Poisson's ratio. So similarly here, so it is a two-dimensional. If you take only the two, consider this is three-dimensional state of strain. If you consider only the two-dimensional state of strain, okay, then for 2D plane it will be strain will be like this. Okay, for a two-dimensional state of stress or strain. For 2D stress plane, it will be like this. So same thing you have to follow here also. So strain will be strain in direction 1 minus strain in direction 2. Okay, or x and y direction you can take. Okay, so in that case it will be in x direction means stress upon, then it will be stress upon Young's modulus in y direction. So you can consider this as hoop stress, this strain as hoop stress, and this longitudinal direction. Okay. I'm replacing x and y by hoop stress and longitudinal strain. Hoop strain and longitudinal strain. Okay. So this is diametrical strain. You can take it as epsilon 1. Okay. So take it as hoop strain and longitudinal strain. So take it as hoop stress and longitudinal stress. So 1 by E is common here. 1 by E is common. So sigma h minus mu times sigma L. So can you tell the value? What is E value? It is given in the data. For steel, 2 into 10 power 5, correct? Sigma h, already have calculated. What is the value? Sigma circumferential stress.
50 Newton.
50 Newton. Minus mu is 0.3, Poisson's ratio is given, into L is 25.
20.
Yeah, sigma L is 25. So strain 1, diametrical strain 1. Okay, hope you have understood the. So again, I will draw this cylinder. So if we consider only diametrical strain, see this interesting concept. So consider one fluid element here inside. So this is what circumferential stress, sigma h, correct? So this is longitudinal stress, sigma L. Okay. So if you consider only circumferential stress, so this particular cylinder is trying to bulge, okay, in this direction, the x direction. So it is obvious that the stress in this direction will be compressive. So that becomes a negative. Okay, that is the reason why strain we are taking negative direction in longitudinal. Okay. What is the value? Sigma, epsilon 1, diametrical strain. 1 by 2 into 10 power 5, 50 minus 0.3 into 24. What is the value? Are you getting 2.15, 125 into 10 power minus 4?
Yes, sir. 0.002125.
Okay, 10 power minus 4. Okay. Yeah. So now you can find out, you have calculate the diametrical strain, correct? So the upper value, see, change in diameter upon D. So they have asked the change in diameter, correct? Change in physical dimension. So change in length as well as change in diameter they've asked. So can you multiply into D, this value into D? What you will get, change in diameter you will get into D. You can just denominator you're multiplying here. So 2.125 10 power minus 4 into D. What's the diameter? Internal diameter 15 mm. Can you tell me what is the value? Total value? So change in diameter, write down, change in diameter, delta D. Quickly tell me the value. What is this? Just multiply 15 to that. Point
31 point.
31.2125 are you getting mm? Change in diameter. Next, longitudinal strain. So diametrical strain we have found. Okay, now longitudinal strain. So it is longitudinal strain now. Let us consider this as a greater value. Now, see here, same fluid element. Now, assuming that this is greater. Okay, so we are interested in finding out the strain here. So assuming that stress in this direction is greater compared to this, so it is stretching or expanding or elongating in longitudinal direction. Okay, like that. Okay, so then the stress in circumferential direction becomes compressive. Okay, becomes compressive. This becomes greater. Okay, then you can write longitudinal strain as delta L, change in length now. Okay, that will change in diameter, change in length. Okay, upon original length. So this is the strain, longitudinal strain. So let us that be epsilon 2. This is greater now. So first you have to write this. Okay, this is taken considered positive. The hoop strain is considered as negative. The other way, opposite of this. So sigma L upon E minus Poisson's ratio. So whenever strain is negative in direction, you have to consider Poisson's ratio, sigma H upon E. So 1 by E is common.
Not visible.
Visible.
Sir.
Now it is visible.
No, sir.
Now is it visible?
Now it's clear.
Okay. So sigma L minus mu into sigma h. See here we wrote sigma, epsilon h minus epsilon l. So opposite of that. Now we are considering longitudinal strain to be greater in comparison with this. So we are considering this as the positive direction and this as the compressive. Then it becomes okay. So tell me the value 1 into 2 into 1 by 2 into 10 power 5 sigma L is longitudinal strain. Already we have calculated 25 minus 0.3 Poisson's ratio into hoop stress. It is 50. Correct. What is the value? So very simple concept. See, first diametrical strain. If they have asked find the changes happening in the cylinder. Okay. First strain you have to take both diametrical strain and longitudinal strain. So when you are considering diametrical strain, so it is going to expand only in diameter ways. So the other it is going to compress. Okay. So you are taking strain in this diametrical direction as positive, and the longitudinal strain you are going to get consider it as negative because it is compressive. So whenever you write compressive strain with the negative sign, you have to consider Poisson's ratio, or else it is same. See, both are same. Only the Poisson's ratio is extra here. So here it is the hoop stress, circumferential stress written in terms of strain upon Young's modulus. Young's modulus is same because material is same. So here you will get this value, multiply by that d diameter, you will get the change in diameter. Similarly, longitudinal strain, when you are considering longitudinal strain, it's going to expand in this way. So the diametric direction it is going to compress. So the hoop strain becomes compressive in nature. So that you have taken into Poisson's ratio, the elastic constant. So here delta L upon L you will get 5 into 10 power minus 5. This doesn't have unit, but when you multiply with the 3000 mm, what is the value you are going to get? 0.15 you are getting, 0.15 mm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 0.195 is the answer. Okay. You can also calculate change in volume if it is asked. So change in diameter, change in length, because it is a cylindrical component. You also calculate change in volume. How do you calculate change in volume? Again, delta V upon, sorry, change in volume upon original volume. You have to calculate, which is volumetric strain. Okay. Volumetric strain. We have seen in the module 1, volumetric strain, change in volume upon original volume. So that is given by 2 into, write down this formula. Okay. 2 into epsilon 1, we have calculated epsilon 1 here, epsilon 2 here. So volumetric strain is given by 2 into epsilon 1 plus epsilon 2. Okay. Note down this formula, it's not discussed before. All of you, it's okay. Volumetric strain, change in volume upon original volume, is given by 2 into epsilon 1, where epsilon 1 is the diametrical strain. Okay, epsilon 2 is the longitudinal strain. 2 into epsilon 1 plus epsilon 2, change in volume upon volume, which is volumetric strain. So can you calculate now? 2 into epsilon 1, which is 0.2125 plus 0.15. What is the value you are going to get? sorry, strain you have to take, sorry, strain you have to take. Epsilon 1, what is the value? 2.125 into 10 power minus 4 plus epsilon 2. Epsilon 2, 5 into 10 power minus 5. Quickly tell me the answer. This is delta V upon V. What is the answer?
9.2.
Are you getting 4.75 into 10 power minus 4? Two into 2.125 into 10 power minus 4 plus 5 into 10 power minus 4. So you must be getting 4.75 into 10